This is Greg Troutwine with Offshore Engineer TV, and we're here in Houston at the OTC 2026, and we're very pleased to be joined by Stephen Grotsky, Vice President, Bureau Veritas, to discuss this organization and its role in the offshore energy industry. So Stephen, just to start us off, I'm sure everyone watching knows the Bureau Veritas name. Why don't you give us a by the numbers look at BV today?
Sure, Greg. We got all the stats here. So let's talk about BV is one of the world's leading testing, inspection, certification. So not just the class society from the M&O perspective. And founded in 1828, we're coming up on the 200-year anniversary soon. And right now, BV has about 80,000 plus employees, 1,600 offices, serving around 400,000 clients globally across all our industries. You can see that BV together, we have right now in the M&O, 3,400 surveyors, engineers, which represents about 4% of the overall BV portfolio of operations and leaders. What makes us unique is that 85% of our team is client-facing support. So lean, technical, ready to support our clients. And that goes from our surveyors, technical experts, and our ops teams who work really close to our clients and onboard the assets on a daily basis. At the same time, we have all of our technical in-office capabilities where we invest year over year. Over the last year, we added about 200 plus surveyors out in the field to support our growing portfolio of offshore maritime assets, and then also our government military vessels as well. And really, this type of growth reflects our commitment to supporting all industries on the left-hand side, from production, design, all the way into decommissioning and recycling of the assets. And lastly, how do we do it? We're really covering three major geographies across the globe. We have WEA, which is Western Europe and Americas. We have EMA, which is East Europe, Mediterranean Sea, Middle East, India, and Africa. And our Asia Pacific, covering most of our shipbuilding and ship-owning countries. We also have our advisory services, and those support every major maritime offshore government market. So really, consulting, non-class, that support our classification services, our clients, their needs and wants.
So when you look at the macro trends that are driving both established energy and new energy, what do you see in the way that it'll impact BV?
So we're technical and I'm an engineer, so I like to bucket things. So we can kind of go through five major trends. And the first one I want to talk about is energy security. It's really the center with what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on in Europe with Russia, Ukraine, what's going on in Asia Pacific, what could happen. We have to think of these geopolitical disruptions, what it does to supply chain, the volatility during investment decisions. And, we're speaking with IEA, we're speaking with BRS and Clarksons about what's going on with the different market prices, the day rates, and the actual OPEX, the cost to our clients, and how we should be supporting. So energy security is number one. Number two, talking about offshore upstream. So it's obviously attractive. We're at OTC right now. We're looking every major country that we need to support is here. So we're talking about the deep water and frontier plays. West Africa, Eastern Med, of course we have the Brazilian contingent here. Ghana, Guyana, Namibia, Angola, and also Asia Pacific. We have great clients upstream that we want to make sure that we're supporting with what's going on with exploration and the global production demands right now. Number three is, I think we talk about it all the time, but we're going to kind of shift when we're talking about the energy transition for this third bucket. It's selective and pragmatic, and what we need to concentrate on is how are we supporting these investment decisions that's part of the energy transition, and making sure not only are they good for the environment, but for our clients, operationally, the return on investment, it needs to be there. So it has to cover both pathways. And that's balancing our renewables, LNG, gas, carbon capture, hydrogen, and floating wind, we could talk about a little later, is a major topic, Bureau Veritas. Number four, I kind of mentioned it earlier, is supply chain resilience. With everything that's going on, the disruptions, it's become critical for all these offshore large developments. We were talking to S&P Global. I love the quote. They describe this as a pivot from low carbon electrons towards low carbon molecules. And that includes hydrogen, carbon capture, gas linked to the new low carbon baseload power. And our president, Alex Gregg Smith, I've been listening to him a lot talking about digitalization and AI. And this topic is really not just about innovation, it's about operational necessity. It's not just something of the future, it's something that we're doing now, incorporating every day, and we're matching what our clients are. So we have to be at least at the starting line with AI and digitization. So what I'm really thinking is the market is, it's not just choosing between energy security and transition, it needs both. And that's where these 5 topics are coming in.
So let's get a little more specific because, as you obviously know and just pointed out, the energy mix is very different.
Yes.
So can you put in perspective, I guess, the importance of offshore energy to that mix?
Needless to say, essential. It's much more than oil production. It's about the LNG supply, deep water developments, floating production, floating storage, offshore wind, carbon management, and the emerging new energy infrastructure. So it's really a new story. Offshore it's just not traditional upstream now, oil and gas. It's the full spectrum of the offshore energy system. It's the new story. So projects are becoming larger, they're much more complex, much more capital intensive, and increases the need for the technical confidence and long-term asset integrity. And that's where BV is really coming in when we're looking at the cradle where we're built, we're doing the front-end design, some pre-feed to concept to construction, operation, decommissioning, recycling. And each part of that is the energy story of following the commodity, the searching for it, producing it, transporting it, selling it, burning it, and measuring the emissions. So it's a supply chain, value chain. It's all connected with the different pathways.
No, cradle to grave.
Cradle to grave.
Cradle to grave, absolutely. So, and again, you've covered it already a bit, but looking at then the offshore energy portion of the program, what specifically is BV's offer to the offshore industry?
The depth and breadth of the services, and this is where I'm emphasizing, the greater BV portfolio of companies being the testing, inspection, certification. And when you oversimplifying, and I'm an engineer, and when we're going left to right, when we're talking about pre-feed, concept, feed, and all the way, you're thinking BV falls in our industrials and commodities business, and that's where M&O sits, our marine and offshore. And we have the feasibility, the technical due diligence, design and construction, certification, classification, again, is just one portion of our overall portfolio. Installation operations, life extension, and decommissioning. So those are the main, I would say, parent services with a lot of child supporting services on the consulting advisory side. And then obviously we have our engineering, our AI, our digital platforms that support the life cycle management. And again, from feasibility all the way to decommissioning and recycling. And we could go one level deeper when we talk about the regulatory, statutory, and that's where we would talk about class, certification, verification, and regulatory compliance, which a great example, we have our Brazil markets, we have what's going on in Singapore. So there's a lot of individual regulatory compliance that are regional based that BV needs to have solutions to assist our clients with their owned and operating assets in those specific regions. And then I'll kind of flip the coin with our advisory and technical assistance. These technical advisories include even lenders' technical advisories. We can talk about some of the favorite things we do, approvals and principles. And this is where we have our value chain of sales and support for you do approval and principle, then you do a design assessment, then we bring multiple parties together for JDPs, which are joint development projects, all the way into FID, where these projects are actually built, manufactured, and operated. And then we can get into a little bit more technical with hydrodynamic and structural analysis, which is, again, kind of like the technical aspect of what BV M&O is really known for. And then it's not new, but the risk management, mitigation, the safety studies in the offshore, the newest sustainability advisories. We just had MEPC 84. We talked about the net zero framework, and we have our future shipping team inside that sits in our engineering and survey operation that supports our clients. And always the hot topic of the industry. I'll kind of finish on cybersecurity, the IT, OT, the pen testing, what's important to our clients, and then also what's important to our clients' clients, whether it's charter party agreements, the different trade agreements, the brokerage, what's happening. So again, we support that wide range of assets from FPSOs, FSOs, FSRUs, FLNGs. We have our floating wind turbine here, drilling units, mooring system, and I will never forget to say port infrastructure that supports all of that. So great question. That was the short answer.
I know you personally have a long career in this business. But when you look cumulatively, and you've already mentioned some of the technologies, but what do you see as the most interesting and or transformational technologies in the offshore industry today that are really going to impact it in the coming years?
So let's, again, bucket engineers here. What we're talking about on the engineering side, we have the digital engineering and digital twins. So unlocking the value of our clients' data and bringing it to our class and advisory perspective to allow for maximizing classification, meeting statutory requirements, evaluating the true engineered calculating age versus the physical age of the asset, to just gain more value from our clients' data and making sure class is supporting them on their journey. The next is the AI-enabled inspections and remote surveys. Whether it's drone, whether it's AI, whether it's CCTV, condition monitoring, vibration analysis. It's being able to ingest this data and allow our clients, again, to maximize the value of their data, adding our data. And when you marry those together, you should get approvals of different types of class requirements, statutory requirements. Again, cybersecurity for connecting, the data's got to go from platform or ship to shore. And we want to make sure that's done in the most safe, efficient manner, whether you need it for insurance purposes, for bank loans, or just as part of a statutory, regulatory, or global requirement. I kind of mentioned the AIPs, but on the front end, we have what's called new technology qualification, and that's for things like floating wind, FLNG, low carbon solutions. And we want to make sure anything that's coming to the market, if there's not a rule set, we're able to listen to our clients, develop the rules in support, so they're getting something from their investment right away. We're not holding up the process. We're enhancing the process to bring that technology to market. We talked a lot about this week about advanced floating production and gas infrastructure. This is transformational. Well, what's going on, on these new platforms, we have to support new configuration and listening to the clients. We need to produce faster, we need to produce more. How could we as BV support that journey so they maximize their return on investment with adding new gas generators as an example. So we need to make sure we're ready for that, for what's going on for transformation. And lastly, again, emissions, methane reduction, and these energy efficiency technologies. What are our clients investing in? What should BV be researching, developing, and supporting those new investments? So it's really all about scaling the digital priorities. And I mentioned earlier, we have AGS 3D, and it's taking all of these data sets through a camera, through a drone, through CCTV, using machine learning, tagging all these data points and having AI quantify very subjectively rule sets to make sure you get the same quality inspection survey from the digital asset and the surveyor, they match together. And lastly, these valuable technologies, it's all about improving safety, reducing downtime, and lowering emissions, and making projects more predictable. There's all these engineering analysis, everyone's working together. We want to make this scalable and predictable, and that's the key to these technologies.
I know recently BV introduced the Offshore Center of Excellence.
Yes.
Can you tell me what the impetus was for that development and what exactly is it?
All right, so we opened it in Singapore, and due to the rapid growth, the complexity of what's going on with offshore energy projects, we have our very much traditional oil and gas, energy sectors, offshore wind, etc. But clients need these isolated technical advisory services that they aim to scale, and we're finding these trends in the industry, and it's going from these ad hoc analyses and this kind of boutique consultancy to speed to market, growing these ad hoc, disconnected, disparate requests and finding the value what other clients from around the world are requesting. Again, BV has a lot of data points, 80,000 plus employees. We're finding these trends in the industry, and that's being aggregated at the Offshore Center of Excellence. And it's coordinated from project lifecycle, feasibility, design, construction, decommissioning, recycling. And it's our hub in Asia Pacific. We have our local teams, Singapore, Shanghai, Kuala Lumpur, and it gives us the ability to get all these data points and provide value to FPSOs, FSRUs, FLNGs. And the center is it's built around hundreds of years when you combine all of our team's experience, and it's supporting over 200 assets right now, and works with the top 10 of FPSO owners. So it's all about taking all these disparate, disconnected data sources, bring them one central hub, and I'm just going to keep on saying, getting value out of these data sets of requests from our owners.
I very much appreciate your time. I just really have two more questions. Everybody loves a case study. I know in this business particularly, it's tough to name names sometimes.
Yes.
But can you point to a project or two? Just discuss a project that is recent that you see that really highlights the offer of BV to the offshore industry.
Yeah, let's for top two. I mean, there's obviously much more, but what's going on in the emerging markets? We have the CNOOC Kaiping FPSO. It's the world's largest cylindrical FPSO in Asia Pacific. So it's, BV is playing with our large-scale FPSO owners and operators, and a great friend and client of SBM. We have the SEEP-1 and SEEP-2 FPSOs working with Brazil and Petrobras, recently awarded to BV with our Sustainability 1 notation, which it demonstrates our ability to manage these large parallel projects. And with all the energy trends, when we talk about these sustainability notations and these digital notations, it's what are our clients doing in the region? How have they designed and constructed and operating these assets in the cleanest, most efficient, most profitable digital way that provides the greatest return on investment? BV is focused on this return on investment and providing this unique value to our clients across our supply chain. And that's how I feel we really support these two large-scale projects.
When you look out the next 12 to 24 months, what are the priorities for BV in the offshore energy sector?
We have a great team, lots of new hires. What's going on in the BV ecosystem of companies? We're heavily focused on coming much larger, scaling our leadership in offshore oil and gas and floating production. We have a lot of great clients. We have a lot of great regions. We're looking at increasing our market share in these regions on these assets. Expand earlier in the project life cycle, right? When I talked about the asset value life cycle with our advisory services and our other verticals within Bureau Veritas, this is where we could come in at the advisory, risk management, risk mitigation, all the way to decommissioning. And you asked about the Offshore Center of Excellence. It's taking that, what's good, lessons learned, and increasing the footprint all across the world, whether it's in Asia Pacific or South America or Africa region. That's what we're looking to do, is scale the center of excellence for our clients. And that's what's going to really connect our offshore expertise for the wider energy transition. And we really want to be tip of the spear. What's going on in the energy transition? What's going on macroeconomically? What's happening in, again, Middle East as an example. How could we be better prepared to serve our clients during these times of uncertainty? And lastly, in order to support that, it's building out this commercial visibility and market leadership. And what I'd really like to focus on is our clients and what's going on in the world. You know, BV is not just a technical authority, but if I really had to think about it, it's a strategic long-term partner. It's great to be known as our technical authority, and that's always our foundation. But that trusted partnership from, cradle to grave for asset integrity, that's what we're looking to provide our clients.